talk about this thing. So this is the Guns N' Works LMT Mars-L, based on the Marie MWS system. And I just got it in the mail today and literally put it together 10 minutes ago and just wanted to share my thoughts on it, since there's no videos on the internet right now in English, which kind of sucks. So I went in kind of blind to this, but if you guys are thinking about this is what I have to think. Basically, kit's made by Guns N' Works, which is a subsidiary of Archwick, who made the monolithic L119 kit. Similarly, this thing is also a monolithic upper, just like the real thing. Quality-wise, it's good. It's what you'd expect from a 60-61 lower and a 60-61 upper and a 70-74 lower. It's nice. It's definitely solid. There's zero wobble between the receivers. It also comes with a steel barrel and mag release, steel, bolt release, steel, fire selector, steel. It also comes with an ambi bolt release, which this part is steel, but we're gonna talk about this ambi bolt release. We're definitely gonna talk about it later. Yeah, so it's definitely very solid. And the first thing I noticed when I put this thing together is that it is a lot, and I mean it like a lot lighter than the L119. But that's probably due to because the front end is M-LOK, because they are made out of the same material and the handguard is the same length and they both have a steel barrel. But the L119, like when you're holding that thing, it is very front heavy by that one piece handguard. But this, because of the M-LOK, the weight's a little bit more manageable and you're going to be able to hold your gun up a little bit longer. So what I have on here, I didn't exactly like the Repro LMT grip it came with, so I have a Magpul MOE K2 Plus. I got a B5 system Sopmod stock on here, and then Vortex Crossfire 2 with a Repro Geissele precision mount, Modlite, Cloud Defence LCS, Arisaka indexer, which I'm using as a hand stop, and I also got an Angry Gun RC2 on here. Let's talk a little bit about the gun itself. So trademarks, everything you'd expect to be there is definitely there. You got LMT Defense on the upper, some patent numbers and serial numbers here. And on the other side, we have LMT trademarks and on the receiver, and some more patent numbers on the rail. So the trademarks are definitely there. As always, for stuff that comes into the States, it's going to be taped. That's just US laws. But it's very nice. And the finishing, I gotta say, the finishing feels much nicer than the Archwick. The Archwick one, the finishing isn't very smooth. But this one, as smooth as a baby's ass. Now let's talk a little bit about what's inside. They say everything comes as gun modified. I'm assuming that's true, so it's going to be a guns modified bolt and trigger box. And right off the bat, the first thing I noticed is that the trigger on this thing is sensitive to a point of almost unusable. I'll show that here. There is no wall. That fired, by the way. There is no wall. I feel like if I breathe on this while it's cocked, it'll probably fire. Which is, I know a lot of people don't like the stock MWS trigger and try to look for something more sensitive or have a shorter break. This thing is too much. I'm assuming it's the adjustable trigger box, so I'll probably get into it and dig around a little bit, make the trigger a little bit less sensitive, because this is borderline unusable. My kit also came with 2 guns modified PMAGs. These are currently the best aftermarket mags you can get for the MWS, but I'm still going to probably be using the stock mags. But the nice thing about this, in an improvement over the Archwick one, sorry, the Archwick L119, on the L119 kit, the mag doesn't go in very smoothly. There's a part of the ambi bolt release that really catches the magazine, so you have to insert it very straight on. With this, not a problem. Very smooth entry, very smooth exit, not a problem at all. Just to show the trigger again, now with the mag in, that double tap was not on purpose. The kit does come with some instructions on how you can put the barrel into the upper receiver. It is a monolithic upper, so that's different than standard MWSs. What's interesting about this upper is that it actually doesn't use a barrel nut. So what you basically do, I'll explain it here since the instructions they gave is a QR code, and that QR code is currently not working. So you basically jam the barrel into the receiver. I have heard from other people that they've had to really jam it pretty hard to get it in, but I didn't have that issue. I got it in pretty easy. But after that, you basically put these screws into the handguard, and that's what secures the barrel with some sort of proprietary notches on the barrel here. Neat system. I like it, but this also means you probably won't be able to easily use aftermarket barrels. So for the people that's really bothered by this gas block and wants to turn it into a 10.5 spec bore, not going to happen pretty easily unless you cut this one down. Now, another thing I like about this, the buffer tube. So on stock Marines, I like to replace the buffer tube so I can use roller bolt ends. But on this one, I didn't have to. The dimensions are already correct. As well, this is the only buffer tube I've used that doesn't require a shin for a mil-spec stock. This thing does not move at all. There is zero wobble on there. Just makes my life a lot easier. Let's talk about my biggest complaint about this thing, which is the ambi bolt catch. So if you've had a VFCS R16, you'd be familiar with how the bolt catch flops around when you're not using it. This is normal. It's kind of annoying, but nothing really we can do to fix that. But I am very unhappy with how Archwick, Guns and Works, did their part on this. The part that encloses the ambi bolt catch, which is this long strip right here, is actually 3D printed and is very brittle. And as you can see here, within 5 minutes of having it, mine's already basically broken, right? It doesn't really affect function. It's just a cover, but they really could have done a better job on this. It is very easy to break. I basically didn't touch it and it was already snapped. It'll hold for now. I don't know what I'll do with it yet since it's just the first night. So we'll see what happens with that. But Archwick, come on, man. I love you guys, but this is not acceptable. Now, some other things. Bolt tolerances. I currently have 3 MWS bolts with me here in the States. I tested the stock bolt, works properly with it with a stock nozzle, completely fine. I tested my Howe Geissele bolt. This receiver did not like that bolt. It was not bolt locking, it could barely fire, and the nozzle I'm using, which I believe is a Guns Modify, does not go into the chamber, which makes not much sense, but I only had a little bit of time to test, but that's just my initial impressions of it. So this thing likes a stock bolt and the Guns Modify bolt, but not the Howe bolt, which has a proven track record really of working in almost any receivers. So that'll be it, because it's just a quick first impressions video. I'm probably going to take this thing to a field next week or this weekend, which then I'll let you guys know how it actually runs. I haven't actually fired a BB out of this thing yet. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Let me know down below if you guys have any questions, and thanks for being here. Bill out.